Nobody puts baby in the corner. Nobody. Howdy, folks. I'm Brian.
I'm Amber.
And here's some Reddit. Our first story is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Expecting My Daughter to Pay for Her Brother / My Younger Son's Wedding After She Was Disinvited Due to the Fiancé? Hi all, I have a son, John, a 28-year-old male, and a daughter, Rita, a 31-year-old female, and both are on okay terms with each other. Ever since my husband passed away nearly a decade ago, Rita has stepped up and taken care of all of us financially. She's funded a huge portion of John's life and helped him get a job without debt. She's even let me live with her in her house and is very, very soft spoken and calm. Well, recently, John proposed to his long-term girlfriend, Sam, and they've begun planning their wedding. Sam and John have made it clear that they want Rita to help them out financially, again, as they're saving up for a house and a future child. Sam has a huge family and everyone there have very close relationships, so they've already cut down on the guests from John's side. Neither I nor Rita care about this, but recently one of Sam's long-lost childhood friends informed them that she'll be in town during the wedding. So they had to remove one of the guests because of the venue's rules, and that person was Rita. Sam told John, and John told me that she doesn't want Rita to be there because they're not very close, and she can always see the couple sometime else. I know, isn't that great?
Yeah.
I was rude, and I questioned her as to why they were removing someone who was helping them out, to which they replied, I don't like how she's butting into John's life, and that childhood friend is more likable. Rita's now hurt and told the couple that she won't be paying a dime for the wedding, and even went as far as planning a trip on the same dates with her friends. Now John and Sam are yelling at me saying that I've spoiled her and made her into an egotistic loser. But Rita's already given them an engagement and wedding gift apart from the funding, so I told them that she's done her part and that a childhood friend could cover the expenses. Sam's mad and threatening to go no contact. Am I the jerk?
No, not the jerk. And good of Rita for sitting up for herself
Yeah.
here.
So oftentimes these ones kind of go bad because the person who's refusing to fund it will have everyone kind of gang up against them. So it's good that her mother is like, hey, you shouldn't do this to her, and she shouldn't be putting up with this kind of abuse.
Right. If anyone is egotistic, it's Sam here. She seems to have absolutely no regard for anyone in John's family, and to be like, oh well, we're not very close.
Yeah.
Like I can just uninvite her.
Yeah, and how rude to invite the person who's literally paying for part of the wedding.
And my childhood friend is more likable. You can't expect someone to fund your wedding and then cut them.
Yeah, so that's like the definition of biting the hand that feeds you.
Yeah. Our next story on a similar wedding related theme is, am I the jerk for asking the bride if my 3-year-old can wear white to a wedding? I'm really torn by this. My brother is 31 and he's about to get married. I'm 33 and I'm one of the groomsmen. My wife had informed me that our daughter, who's 3, will be wearing a white dress to the wedding. I wasn't sure if this was appropriate, as I thought it was mainly brides and flower girls who would wear white. My wife didn't care if any little girls wore white at our wedding, and others that she knows said they don't care. My daughter will be the only child attending amongst about 80-ish guests, as she is the only grandchild in either family. There are no flower girls or page boys participating in the wedding. I try to be as considerate as possible, as obviously it's not my wedding, so I asked my brother whether there's an issue with it. And he says it will be. White is strictly for the bride, which I respect. Her wedding, her rules. And I don't want any drama. Now my wife is calling me out on it, calling me all sorts of names, saying that I should have stood up for my daughter, saying I should have kept my mouth shut and not mentioned anything and just rocked up with her wearing her white dress. She wants the bride and groom to pay for a new dress, which was a hand-me-down from the beginning. I am fine to go and get another dress, but now it seems she won't back down out of principle. I feel like I did the right thing, but my wife's reaction makes me seem like it wasn't. Am I the jerk for checking with the bride and groom?
You should always check with the bride and groom when you have questions.
Yeah, when in doubt about what to wear at the wedding, always check with the bride and groom.
Yeah, and I think that OP made the right decision here. I don't think that they're acting like a jerk by asking the bride and groom if it was okay if the daughter wore white, since white is such a taboo color for any of the guests to wear.
Yeah, and so I think OP made completely the right call here, and it's strange that his wife is doubling down on this.
Yeah, it really is. So I don't know why she would be doubling down on this whole situation. It just seems really strange, and just sometimes people don't like the inconvenience of having to go out and do something additional for a wedding. So
Yeah, well, I wonder if there's like a strained relationship here, or she's trying to make some kind of statement because there aren't any
yeah.
flower girls or something. Like, it seems like she's making this, trying to use their daughter to make a statement for some reason.
hmm
So,
Well, it might even just be as much as something like, well, we let little kids at our wedding wear white, so why shouldn't other people be allowed to wear white or something like
yeah,
that?
which,
And
like, it's, you can do what you want at your own wedding, but
yeah.
you don't get to dictate other people's wedding.
Exactly. All right, our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for kicking my fiance out of the house for letting my snake outside? I'm a 27-year-old male, and I've always been an animal lover. I love snakes, tarantulas, scorpions, lizards, geckos, dogs, and cats. When I moved out of my parents' house into my own hometown, I decided to adopt a ball python. She is very docile and loves to be held. I set up her tank in one of the rooms downstairs. When my fiance, a 28-year-old female, and I decided that we were ready to move in together, I slowly introduced her to the snake. She thought the snake was really cool and even held her a few times. A few months ago, her friends came over. Ever since, she's been asking me to find a new home for the snake. Well, I had gotten to travel to another state for work, and I trusted her to take care of the snake. I was gone for a week, and when I came back, I saw the tank was completely gone. I searched all over the house, and it was nowhere to be found. I went outside and checked the wooded area behind the hometown and found the tank. The tank was open with no sign of the snake. When my fiance got home, I showed her the tank and told her to pack her suitcase to find another place to stay. Her defense was that I was giving the snake too much attention. Fiance is currently staying with her parents, and they think that I'm overreacting over an animal. Fiance is upset that I won't talk to her or accept her apology. Am I the jerk for kicking out my fiance for letting my snake loose outside? All right, well, what do you think of that one?
Not the jerk. I mean, a pet is a pet. Like, I know snakes are a little different, not everyone likes them, but
Yeah.
this isn't any different from letting someone's cat or dog loose outside.
Yeah, well, and the thing is that a snake is going to be really hard to find. Like, it's going to be impossible to find that snake at this point in time unless by some miracle it crawls back.
Yeah.
And that's really sad and unfortunate for OP here. And I think that OP's fiance, or I should say ex-fiance, I'm sure, violated his trust by showing him that he can't trust her. At
Yeah.
least not being alone with the animals, and that she's gonna make unilateral decisions in the relationship if she thinks that she can get away with it.
Right, and this doesn't bode well for their future because it sounds like a lot of the animals that OP loves are kind of non-standard, like snakes, tarantulas, scorpions, lizards. If you get another snake, you can't trust that she won't get rid of it or one
Yeah.
of these other animals, and so
Exactly, and that's just it. It's like OP cannot trust at this point in time that his fiance or ex-fiance, as I like to say, is going to actually respect them and their choice in animals. And all the fiance had to do was set a boundary and say, I'm not comfortable with living with a snake anymore. And, say that if you want to keep the snake, then I don't think I can continue this relationship. And, we probably just aren't compatible and we have to move our separate ways. That's what had to have happened, right?
right. Well, and the fact that she expects him to just like accept her apology and move
Yeah.
on shows that she doesn't really see that, like, oh, it's not a big deal. Like,
Mhm.
it's still a big deal, and like, yeah, if she wanted to end the relationship over this, that's one thing. But it sounds like she wanted to keep the man, get rid of the snake. And
Yeah.
like, that's not how this works.
No, you can't just throw away someone's pet and expect them to stick around with you.
Yeah. Our next story is, am I the jerk for saying my wife and me aren't going to apologize to my sister's boyfriend? My sister Jennifer, a 25-year-old female, has a new boyfriend, Dan, a 25-year-old male. They've been dating for almost 3 months, and about a month ago she brought him around so my wife, a 29-year-old female, and me, a 29-year-old male, could meet him. He seemed okay, and we didn't have any problems then. While they were over, I showed them the train horn I bought to install in my wife's vehicle. I wish I could have one in mine, but I drive a company truck, so no dice. I have fun if I have to drive my wife's vehicle now because of the horn. Dan said we should reconsider because the horn would be illegal here. Since he's a first year in law school, me and my wife thought it was a flex. But we ignored it because he seemed okay otherwise. We didn't know Dan has been a paralegal for over 3 years and works at a law firm that primarily handles traffic and driving cases. We thought he was just showing off, honestly, because he's in law school now. My wife was stopped by the cops and got a citation, got the train horn, and they towed her vehicle because without a legal horn, it was considered unsafe. My wife has to go to court for the illegal horn, and we had to pay out the wazoo for the towing and impound fees, plus a mechanic to fix the horn back to default because I tried and could not. When Jennifer found out, she said it was our own fault because Dan told us the horn was illegal. I counted the two of them that he should have been clear about his credentials at the traffic firm, and we would have listened. But we thought he was flexing and talking out of his, you know what, because he's in law school now. I blame him for not being clearer.
Oh, yeah. That's the problem here. Clarity was the problem. Don't do this, it's illegal.
We wouldn't have had this problem if he'd actually told us. Which he literally did. Jennifer says we need to apologize to Dan for blaming him. I disagree. For the record, my parents agree. I've been married to my wife for almost 11 years, whereas Jennifer hasn't even known Dan for 3 months.
Oh my goodness.
We don't know him well. My wife is family. I certainly don't think she should apologize, nor should I, because Dan could have communicated better here, and now we're in a mess. If we'd known Dan was an actual professional, we would have taken it seriously.
Yeah, well, if he was an actual professional, it's like, look, the guy is in law school, and he tells you that it's illegal. This isn't a flex. This is them trying to save you some heartache here.
Exactly. It doesn't matter if he's a first-year law student.
It's like
laws are still laws,
yeah.
even if they're first-year law students telling you that.
Yeah, a first-year law student just happens to know a particular law. Maybe you should listen to them, right? Or even like look this up on the internet after Google. Like, do you not have the internet? Like, you must, because you wrote on Reddit, right? So you have the internet. You have no excuse to not be like, maybe I should investigate this and see if this is a problem or a crime.
Yeah, like, even if you're not sure you can trust his expertise, you could just Google it.
Yeah, just because you didn't feel that he was clear and communicated with you doesn't mean that he wasn't clear and didn't communicate with you.
Right. First of all, he never had to tell you in the first place. So if he'd never said anything like that, still, like,
it would have blamed him then. Yeah. Well, okay. If Dan had not said anything to him,
then they would be like, "Why didn't you tell us?"
Yeah, why didn't you tell us? You should have told us that this would have been an illegal thing.
And now it's like, you didn't tell us hard enough. You should have like told us like even more. There's no winning for Dan in this situation.
Yeah, there was no winning. Dan would never have done the right thing, no matter what, just because they weren't open to him.
If he said that he was like a paralegal in a traffic place, they probably would have been like, "This is he's flexing on us."
Yeah, he's just more flexing.
Yeah. Him having expertise is like showing them up.
Yeah.
So there's no winning for him.
No. I just think it's so ridiculous. These people are absolutely absurd. All right, folks, it is tea time. So, place your bets as to what kind of tea we have today.
All right.
And today, Amber is going to read.
What does a three-headed policeman say?
A three-headed policeman?
Hello, hello, hello.
How is that even a joke? It's like an anti-joke. It's an anti-joke. We did Wordle and 4 today.
You did. Yes, I was just too lazy to send over my board, as I am most of the time.
And I have Mega Mint.
As do I.
And our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Walking Out of My Intervention? I have ADHD and I got diagnosed with it in college. I took Van-A's without a problem up until I got pregnant. After I was done breastfeeding, I tried to go back on it, but it was giving me severe nausea and insomnia. My doctor gave me Ritalin for a short while until we can find a long-term better solution. I accidentally took the wrong dose for like 2 weeks before I realized. Honestly, I wasn't trying to abuse it. I just don't read directions well, unfortunately. It made me jittery and irritable. During those 2 weeks, we ended up spending a lot of time with my in-laws because we needed them to watch our son so we could pick up overtime at work. Well, Ritalin is working better, but I find it doesn't work very well at controlling my symptoms, so now I'm trying something else. My symptoms are probably worse than they've ever been. Anyways, we go over to dinner at my in-laws on Sunday night. We finish dinner and my in-laws tell me that they want to talk to me about something. And they tell me that they've noticed a couple of changes over the past few weeks and they're concerned and they're staging an intervention. I explained to them that it's my ADHD and I'm trying to find a new medication that works for me, and I appreciate their concern, but I'm okay. Well, my in-laws tell me that I'm basically taking legal meth and that there are a couple books I can read about motivation, because that works with ADHD. It's just a matter of motivation. I got up, thanked them for dinner, got our son, and went to the car. I don't really want to hear that. I struggled with a lot of diagnosis when I first got it. My husband thinks that they were wrong for the last comment that they made, but I didn't have to just walk away because it was going to cause conflict. We really can't afford childcare all the time and depend on them quite a bit, so we can both work. I honestly didn't mean it in a rude way. I just didn't feel like I owed them any more explanation. Am I the jerk? Basically, the edit says that the husband really is not to fault here and that there was some other dialogue that went on. So, yeah, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. I mean, people who don't understand neurodivergence can get some interesting ideas. Like, ADHD is not a thing that reading a book on motivation is going to help you with.
No, if that was the case, then reading a book on motivation is what the doctor would subscribe,
Exactly.
as opposed to like a drug like Ritalin, right?
Right, and of course, there are all different forms of ADHD. It's not
Yeah.
like a one size fits all thing. So there are people who have ADHD and don't need medication, but for a number of people with ADHD, medication is helpful.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you're not a medical professional who is well versed in a particular person's ADHD, like, you don't really have business to be telling them whether or not to be taking medication.
And this, on top of that, is actually like medical advice. Like they were
Exactly.
giving her medical advice, saying like, "Oh, you don't need medicine. Just read this book."
Exactly. Like, and if you go off of medication, you usually want to do that in conjunction with your doctor.
Yeah.
So, like, telling someone, "Oh yeah, you just need to stop taking these pills and read these books," like, that's not helpful.
No, it isn't helpful. Not helpful at all. So I don't think OP is a jerk here. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. And if you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much to Amber for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Happy Friday, Junior.
Happy Friday, Junior.
I hope you all have a great Friday. And don't forget that tomorrow is actually the live stream. So if you want to join us, it would be fun. Amber and I will both be there. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you all hopefully tomorrow.
Bye.